This satellite view shows Pasteur Street in central Tehran, a heavily fortified government complex housing the offices of Iran's president and senior officials. Because of the escalating war, Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, spent his days deep within the network of underground bunkers beneath these structures. On the morning of February 28th, an important leadership meeting required him to emerge. Bodyguards fanned out across the compound to secure the short route from his bunker to a meeting location above ground. At 9:40 a.m., long-range missiles launched by Israeli F-35 stealth bombers struck the compound with absolute precision. The impact killed Ayatollah Ali Khamenei instantly. The multi-strike also killed his family members and 30 of Iran's most senior government officials. With the supreme leader and 30 top officials gone in a single morning, the central nervous system of the Iranian state ceased to function. There was no immediate successor, and no secondary command structure prepared for a loss of this scale. The intelligence required for a strike of this magnitude required multiple agencies working in tandem. Israel's Mossad and the CIA, supported by Unit 8200's signals intelligence team, successfully hacked all traffic cameras and mobile networks across Tehran. Israeli intelligence integrated these traffic feeds with mobile network data to map pattern of life profiles. They identified where bodyguards parked, when shifts changed, and which specific routes they used, allowing Mossad to model the target's movements with a high degree of predictability. This illustrates Israel's Blue Sparrow missile. Instead of a standard horizontal path, it exits the atmosphere and drops vertically. Since most air defenses only intercept horizontal objects, this vertical drop bypasses lateral radar cones entirely, giving systems zero time to react. By combining total surveillance with a munition that strikes before air defense systems can even register its presence, the coalition rendered the bunker, once the safest place in Iran, completely obsolete. In the immediate aftermath, Iran was paralyzed. With communications severed and key military sites burning, the surviving leadership scrambled to stabilize a collapsing state. Facing a political void, the government triggered Article 111 of the Iranian Constitution. The Assembly of Experts, a body of 88 religious scholars, convened to frantically elect a new supreme leader. They selected Ali Khamenei's son to fill the role. The founder of the Islamic Republic, Ayatollah Khamenei, explicitly wrote that hereditary succession is an evil practice with no place in Islam, yet the highest title in the state passed directly down the family line. The son had never been involved in mainstream politics, nor was he among the top religious scholars of the country. He inherited the regime lacking both the required theological credentials and constitutional legitimacy. The new leader's power relies on his decades-long ties to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. In a regime where religious credentials traditionally grant authority, he must lean on the rigid military formation of the IRGC to maintain control. The regime immediately relied on this military strength to maintain order. While state media projected unity, factions of Iranian society openly celebrated the assassination on the streets, forcing the military to clamp down on a deeply divided public. The new supreme leader is also physically compromised. High-level intelligence reports indicate he sustained severe injuries during the initial Israeli airstrikes. A source close to the leader stated he was secretly loaded onto a Russian military aircraft and flown directly to Moscow for emergency, top-secret surgery. Weeks later, his exact location remains entirely unknown. Iran is now governed by a militarized phantom, forcing the state to rely purely on brute force and proxy violence to project strength. Beyond the physical strikes, cyber operations compromised a popular religious calendar app. It sent direct surrender orders to the personal devices of Iranian soldiers, prompting the regime to shut down wide swaths of the domestic internet to regain control of the narrative. Iran's leadership knows they lack the technological capability to win a direct, symmetric war against American and Israeli air superiority. Therefore, they are forced to respond asymmetrically. Instead of traditional military targets, Iran shifted its focus to geo-economic warfare, directly aiming at the broader energy infrastructure of the Middle East. This map highlights their retaliatory strategy. Iranian missiles struck the Oman commercial port and heavily damaged Qatar's vital liquefied natural gas facilities. If the Iranian regime cannot defend its own borders from advanced stealth bombers, their strategy is to make the entire region bleed economically. The ultimate leverage point for this strategy is a small stretch of water, the Strait of Hormuz. Roughly 20% of the world's total daily oil supply passes through this exact corridor. Economies in China, India, Japan, and South Korea rely on this strait for 3/4 of their energy imports. Israeli and U.S. defense officials have publicly stated that the precision strikes and military operations will not stop until every strategic objective is achieved. The operation successfully removed the top-tier leadership of the Iranian state. However, that tactical success has replaced a predictable autocrat with a wounded military regime, one now willing to disrupt global energy corridors to ensure its own survival.